The environment also helps to determine the human roles we play. Heredity and environment interact. Together, they form a unique partnership providing the dimensions of human life. We can begin to understand their interaction if we construct a parallel between types of development and the different aspects of the environment. First, consider human development as a large process made up of 4 interrelated but different processes. Physical development, the growth of our bodies. Mental development, when we increase our intellectual capacities. Emotional development, which is our psychological adaptation. And social development, our successful interactions with the world at large. Correspondingly, the environment can be seen as everything surrounding us, and at the same time containing physical, mental, emotional, and social elements. All of these aspects of the environment are interwoven. Of course, the developmental processes in humans are also interwoven. Humans can develop mentally during physical activity, and social interactions often promote emotional growth. Likewise, it is impossible to separate the influences of the environment from the determining forces of heredity. The conflict between nature and nurture must always be resolved by recognizing the complex interaction of both factors. Consider our first physical environment, the mother's womb. During this period of rapid growth, the human form is taking shape. But in this dark and liquid world, the mother's health and diet is an important environmental influence on the fetus. Dr. Roddy Cox, genetic researcher.
Some examples of interaction between biological factors in the environment, specifically those that deal with the genetic potential of an individual and his physical environment, would be, for example, body height. Height is determined by the genetic background of the individual, by the genes for tallness that he inherits from his parents. These are multifactorial. In other words, they involve a series of genetic loci which contribute to height. And these, of course, interact with such things in the environment as his diet, particularly the amount of protein in his diet. Illness can delay a person's growth, or even if severe illness can impair the full expression of that potential. But the interaction between heredity and environment is very close. Genes do not act in a vacuum. They are influenced in action by the genetic milieu, which is the inheritance of the individual as a whole, as well as environmental factors. The genetic endowment of an individual is really a range in which his characteristics may occur, and the environment therefore imposes at what level in that range the phenotype for the individual's character will be leveled.
Exactly what manner of human will we become? The environment, working with heredity, determines our destiny. And our environment can include where we live, what our societal opportunities are, and even what we eat. We know from observation and research that as children grow, a good physical environment will promote good physical development. It is a concept that carries over into a related dimension of human growth, mental development. The school environment is only one of our resources for mental development. Reading, writing, arithmetic, sights, sounds, intellectual exercises, and new ideas, all for the sake of mental growth. To each of our learning experiences, we bring a biological heritage. To a certain degree, our heredity plays a role in determining what we do with these experiences.
The effect of heredity on intelligence is, of course, one of the most controversial areas in psychology and medicine and genetics today. We know that intelligence is not a single factor. It is a range of abilities, and that the level of intelligence in an individual finally manifests is an interaction between his genetic composition and his environmental and educational experiences. Much of the work in the past that has claimed that the genetic factors are a major determinant of inheritance have recently come under some dispute. For example, Sir Cyril Burt, an English psychologist, worked on twins, where he compared intelligence in twins who were reared apart, has been reevaluated, and there's some questions about the methodology and the significance of certain data. So that this is a controversial area. There's no question that genetics play a very significant part in determining intellectual capabilities as far as the range of activities, but certainly education, environment, and so on are equally important in determining at what level that individual's final achievement is reached.
Many people feel the home environment is a particularly strong influence on a child's intellectual ability. Child psychologist Dr. James Cohen.
Well, the cultural and experiential factors which influence intelligence have a lot to do with what your culture emphasizes. For example, if parents do a lot of reading, for example, and are interested in problems of the day and have discussions about that, it's more likely that children will get involved in that kind of thinking, and that influences their ability and quality of thinking. Children whose parents read a great deal also are very likely to read to the children. The children are then able to develop the skills of preparing for reading in school. The acquisition of knowledge is likely to be greater in cultures where there's an emphasis on reading and where the experience is that there are people around you who are reading and there are books around you.
那他的学习成就也相对的比不喜欢阅读的家长。
Although heredity provides us with basic physical and mental potential, environment provides a shaping force. The interweaving of nature and nurture is nowhere more important than in our social and emotional growth. While some aspects of our emotional and social development may be attributed to heredity, it is within the social milieu that we experience the majority of our emotional development. Social and emotional growth continues throughout our lives, but it begins in earliest infancy. Dr. Michael Lewis.
As the child is born, it enters into a social world, and it must have commerce with that social world. Enters into a dance, into a relationship, and this relationship from the very beginning starts to form and influence the child's personality. Experience has to be a major factor in the development and the understanding of human behavior, human personality, human intellectual capacity. It would be hard for me to consider any kind of theory which would exclude human experience from considering the development of a function. Personality, therefore, would be no exception. Indeed, personality may be the area most subject to experience. A child raised in an orphanage without loving and consistent caregiving is going to be marked as quite a different personality than the child raised in a loving, responsive, affectionate home. I don't think anyone could argue with the findings of this nature. The question is, does it affect more subtle aspects of personality? And then it depends on what kind of characteristic you want to include in your definition of personality. If you want to include how active and restless the person is, impulsive or reflective, the kind of terms we use, experience may play very little in the development of these characteristics. However, other characteristics, such as the way you interact with other people, how you feel about yourself, these must be developed.
这个段落讲的是我们的情绪、心理、社会，就是人际互动方面的发展人格的养成这个部分呢，是它的强调跟整个年龄的发展有很大的关系而不是就是说，虽然先天有一些基因的决定权，可是那个的影响反而不是那么大，而是在看父母如何来去给小孩子爱呀，然后给小孩子鼓励他们跟小孩子沟通互动，让他们去建立一些社交的技巧。那他们就会学习到各种不同的那种，就是去形成各种不同的那个性格的倾向。比如说性格的倾向这个部分受遗传的影响不是很大，反而是环境的影响比较大。
Was forced upon us by society over which we have no control, we are diminished as people, and we accept that diminished conception of ourselves. We won't behave as well as if we had some basis for self-respect.
All of us, in a particular sense, have a double parentage. As we are the sons and daughters of our biological parents, we are also the children of heredity and environment. Together, they have given us a heritage which we cannot ignore, and a range of possibilities, an arena of life in which we must find our own destiny.
资源的提供跟陪伴、教育